Bow, wow, wow, bum, ba, bum, bum. Okay, we're all set. Let's go. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre, your host. I hope you're all doing well today. It's Friday. It's just on the dawn of the weekend. So you should be all feeling pretty pumped. It's also payday for a lot of people, and that's always pretty cool. So we are going to start off today by going over to the computer because it's going to be, well, I don't know if it's going to be a short stream or not. We will see as things go along. But anyways, we're going to start off like we always do, going over to the computer. We're going to check out very quickly a quick recap of what we did yesterday, and then we'll tackle our day from there. So what did we do yesterday? Oh yes, well, we added the first coat of our yellow to our virus, or whatever you want to call it. And then we did the eyeballs. And then we did the black outline on the outer frame and on the inner frame of our background. So that is basically what we did yesterday. And today, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to continue. We're going to add some yellow and add the second coat to this, a second coat to the eyeball. And as well, we are going to start with the black details of the background. I'm not sure if we'll have time to do everything because on Fridays I do love leaving early from the studio and starting to party early. So we'll see. Anyways, so I am going to start off with a lighter yellow in the middle, and we'll go to this beautiful golden yellow on the outside. And then eventually on Monday, we'll probably add some details to this to make it more depth and more richness and whatever. So I'm going to start off with this lemon yellow, a color that I rarely use also. But then again, I've never really used cerulean blue for my leaves, or pink for my guy, or turquoise green for my leaves. These are all new colors. So, right, let's continue in that vein. And instead of just painting this on, I think I'm going to knife it on. So it'll be a little thicker and that it will have a little bit of texture. I don't know if it's going to look okay. I've never done it, but we're going to try. It should be kind of fun to do. So let me grab a palette here. Not this one, because I'll need it in a few minutes. There we go. Here's a nice clean palette. Okay, so let me grab a knife. That's not my... There it is. Here's my baby. So I don't think I'm going to need all that much. There we go. Starting off already with a lot of paint on my hands. No big deal. So, I guess I'm going to just work with that nice and thick as it is. I'm going to bring over camera number 1. Let's bring this a little closer so we can see exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'll zoom in right now in the middle of this. There we go. I'm going to move it off a little bit, so I know it looks a little awkward because it's kind of sideways, but at least I won't be in front of the lens. And let's get to work. So I'm going to switch over to camera number 1, and I'm going to start. So first of all, I can just basically do like that. I hear there's a lot of noise in the streets. I am in the old part of Nice that was built, a lot of this town was built in the Middle Ages. I know that the building I'm in was built in the what was it, mid-17th century, 1600 and something. And I am going to use my paintbrush really to make sure that all this is nice covered. There we go. And I'll come back using the knife in a few seconds. There we go. Let's add a little texture to all this. There we go. So that looks pretty good for the first coat. I might have to come back on Monday and add a little more to this. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see how it goes when I start putting on the golden yellow. There as well, I'm going to, well, I think start off by painting with a paintbrush, and then I will add some texture with my knife right afterwards. So let me just get the excess water off my brush. I'm going to step back for a second as well. Take a look. Yeah. So I can see, well, it doesn't matter. Let me just put in this yellow paint right now. There we go. I'm just going to put the second coat on to get rid of the brush strokes that you can see through, and then we'll add the knife and add some texture to this afterwards. But first it needs to have a second coat on like that. Just like that. I can see that my bright yellow here is a little off center as well. So I'll rectify that in a few minutes. Let me first of all get this beautiful golden yellow on. There we go. Bring the camera over a little bit like that. Here as well, there will be a black outline to all this, so I don't need to be all that close to the edge. There we go. Let's get this baby here. When this yellow dries, it's so beautiful. Really one of my favorite yellows. I've been using this since forever. Again, no need for me getting so close, but I'm still doing it out of habit. Let's get this just a little bit more right in here. There we go. And this last little spike, right like that. There, that doesn't look bad. a little bit of, a little more of texture here. There we go, just a few streaks. Just like that. And now I am going to just switch back to my lemon yellow because I did notice the center was slightly off center. So let me get back some yellow in there. And let's take a step back once we clean off our materials and our knife. There we go. Oops, not quite. There we go. We want to make sure everything is nice and clean so we don't mix all the colors together in the jars if we're in a hurry to switch. So let me step back there and take a look again. Yeah, I'm off, but not that much. Not going to be too difficult to correct. Just want to move everything up a little bit. Maybe I should have done this before I put the golden yellow. Yes, there we go. Not bad at all. Let's get these streaks like that. More streaks over here. Very good. So, thinking about all this, taking a look. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty good. If it needs, once it's dry, if it needs some adjustments, we'll do it then. In the meantime, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna go back and put a second coat to the eyeball of my my dude there. I'll put these away. So, bring the camera back here. I'll bring it down and aim that eyeball. There we go, Daddy-o. I have the brush here. I have the paint ready. I'm all set. And you know what? I am going to just bring my chair over here to make sure that I don't have any shaky hands as I'm painting this. And I'm going to switch over to camera number 1. And let's put the second coat to this eyeball right now. This is pretty thick, I must admit, but that's not that bad. There we go. There we go. Oh, what the I put some paint on my canvas right here, but no big deal. A little bit of water, clean cloth, and it all comes right off. Never knew it happened. That's the pleasure with acrylic paint. As long as you catch it when it's wet, it comes right off. But once it dries, forget it, especially on your clothes. So, got that second coat on the eyeball. There we go. Okay, so the first part of our day is over. I'm going to start now working on the outline of these plants. And as not to put my hand in the paint, I am going to start here, then I'm going to bounce over here, and then we'll worry about the center part on Monday when everything is dry. I think that is the best way to avoid catastrophes. So, let me get the black paint out. I'm thinking, because I'm going to do my outline in black, but I was just debating if I shouldn't do it in a dark purple instead. So, that's a good idea. Do I want to stick with that idea or not? I'm not sure. A little finger painting right there. Okay. So, I'm not sure. Should I go with the black paint or not? I mean, with the purple. That is a good question. I think maybe I will. Why not? Let's improvise. Everything else is improvised. I'm just going to go to my back room here and get a new jar of purple paint, since I basically ran out the other day of my other purple. Here's the other jar I had. And I do have a little bit in the bottom of this jar, and this is the part where I always bitch, because to get the last little half inch, it's so impractical. You know what? Screw it. I am not going to give these guys an inch. I'm going to grab my knife. I'm going to cut open this goddamn jar and grab the last Now we just get this camera right here to the center of operations. There we go. And I'm going to cut open this jar. Just like that, so I can get the last of the paint. I mean, granted, there's not a huge amount left, but not a huge amount left, but still, whatever is there, it would have been, you know, to get my knife to go through here all the way down, I would have had paint all over my hands right here, and it would have been a real pain in the neck, honestly. But by doing this, at least I'm going to get a little bit, the last of my jar, which is actually quite a bit left when you look at it. So I'm going to take my new jar, put most of it in the new jar, and just keep what I'm going to be using for today. But obviously the guy who manufactured this is a guy at his desk, right, with a pencil and piece of paper. He's some sort of a architect of, but someone who never obviously painted as his life and never really ever had to get any paint out of his jars that he designed. Otherwise, he would have made the whole thing a lot wider, like these kind of jars, where you can actually get to the last drop. Makes a lot more sense. But anyways, I'm going to stop bitching. I'm going to move this camera out of the way before I knock it over. There we go. And I'm going to get my palette that I used for purple paint the other day. Actually, I'm going to get another palette because I want this purple to be nice and dark. So I'm going to use that. I probably put too much in there as well. Oh well. I mean, it's not that I'm really stingy. It's just that the price of materials are insane. I mean, this amount here is like $20. So, you know, when you paint like 5 days a week for 40 years, believe me, it's quite a bit of money that gets sucked into this. So if I can squeeze, you know, a few cubic inches of paint saved, well, it's well worth it. At least that's my philosophy. Okay, so let's rinse this off. Let's put this away. Let's get this out of the way as well. There we go. Put that right here. This I don't need so much, so close. And I am going to add water to my purple paint so it flows like ink on the canvas. Yet I'm going to be careful to keep it nice and opaque, because there's no way I'm going to put 2 coats of this. And I can see it's nice and thick here. It's kind of the bottom of the barrel. So I'm going to add a bunch of water and take a few minutes to work it, so I get to that nice thick ink type consistency that just kind of glides on the canvas and yet stays nice and opaque. So let me do that. Ready or not, here I come. That's still way, way too thick. Let's just add another big shot of water. still quite thick, I must admit. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add the bottom, what's rest of this little jar in there. Because when I'm all done, I can just scoop it and put it in the new jar. Might as well do that, and there won't be any waste at all. So where's that spoon? Here you are, my guy. So let me grab all this. There we go. There we go. Now I can get rid of that. And I'll clean off my spoon. There we go. And let's work with this guy. Maybe I'll just pour just a little bit of water like that to go a little bit quicker. There, just a few drops. And like that. All I have to do is just churn the whole thing and blend it with the water. Okay, even like that, I still have to add some water. It's getting there. It's nice, nice texture, nice and creamy, but a little too thick. I mean, if I can get this so it flows perfectly, I just paint a lot quicker. I like doing everything in one stroke, one movement is the ideal way. That is, once I have the right paintbrush. I think maybe this might be the last drop of water I'm adding to this. I think I'm just about right there. Let's make sure it's all nicely blended. Yes, I definitely got the right texture here, I think. Just going to twirl it and just a little bit to make sure that it's all nice and homogeneous. Yes, that looks pretty good. Worst comes to worst, I'll just add another drop of water, but I think this one's going to be ideal. So, now let's find the right paintbrush. I think maybe this one here. This one here might be the one that I want. If not, maybe it's too thick and I'll go with this one afterwards. We'll see. I'm going to try this one and we'll see how that goes. I'll let that soak, and while I do that, I will basically get camera number 1 set up. Like I said, I'm basically going to start over here, and then when I get close to the center, I will just switch over, just to avoid catastrophes, because I do have that tendency of putting my hand in the paint very often, forget what I'm doing. So let's start off like that. Okay, get rid of the excess water on my brush. And let's switch over to camera number 1. And let's start. First, let's try out the paintbrush, make sure it's okay. Well, right now I have too much water on the brush, so that's not going to work. There we go. Okay, let me step back for a second and take a look. So, what am I doing here? I'm thinking, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to debate if this is what I want to go with. I'm hesitant. It's not quite. Not quite the effect I was looking for. So I'm sure, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't really like the purple outline like I thought I would. I thought it might add something kind of nicer to the painting, but to be honest with you, I don't like it at all. So that's a major drag. And therefore, I don't think I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to go with it. I don't want to take any... if you don't feel it, don't do it. And I don't feel it. I don't like the way it looks. So I'm just going to put all of this away and I'm going to start over. And this time I'm going to use black paint like I intended to in the first place. And I'm going to go with that. And as I think about it, I think that I did this once before. Used some purple for the outline, didn't like it, stopped and went with black. And it's coming back to me that I think I've already done that kind of mistake before and realized it wasn't really my cup of tea. So I am going to bounce back and go to this black paint, black palette. I'm going to do the whole process over. Wasted 20 minutes there, but no big deal. At least we'll be happy with the final result, and I guess that is the main thing, right? So, looks like I won't be leaving as early as I'm hoping to for Friday afternoon, but screw it. No big deal. So, let's get back, add some water to this. And I'll have to work my black paint to get it to be the right consistency, right texture, as I did with the purple paint. As I'm blending the water with the black paint, I'm still looking at this purple. And it's true, as it dries, it has a tendency to darken which doesn't look as bad as I thought maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Bonjour. Yeah, I think I need another drop of water. Boom. Just like with the purple paint, I want this to be nice and opaque, but I want this to flow on the canvas as though it was ink. And this looks pretty good right there, so that's good. Up. Let me get my brush. I'll leave the purple one the way it is, and I'll get back to that when it's dry on Monday. In the meantime, where are we? In the meantime, we're back to our leaves. So let me get back to camera number 1. Let's go back and start this whole thing over. Hopefully with results that will be more pleasing. I mean, the difference is so subtle between the purple and the black, as you can tell. On the camera, you probably can't even tell the difference, but unfortunately, I can. And for some reason, I prefer the black. So and like I said, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth because of my centerpiece. I don't want to get my hands in it, so I'm not going to be following any kind of a logic except the one of not putting my hands in the paint. Okay, I'm going to basically stop right there before I get into trouble. Maybe go this far here. All right. So there's a lot of outlines. We'll do our best, and then we'll come back and clean up whatever screws up when we're all done with the painting. Oh, fuck. There, I screwed up by putting my hand in the yellow paint of the eyeball. I don't know if it's me or my coat that did that, but I didn't notice it, and it's a little harder to clean. Okay. That's why I got to be careful, for crying out loud. All right. Again, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave all this as well. So I'm going to bounce back over here now, where I'm sure I won't be putting my hand in the paint. So I'm going to come back up here. We'll zoom in maybe on this upper right-hand corner, which is where I'm going to continue. Just like that. So I notice my paint is not flowing the way it should. So I'm going to come back here and see if I don't need maybe one big drop of water more. So I'm going to rework this. Maybe it was the right texture for one kind of work, but not for what I'm doing right now. So I want it to flow a little better. It's not doing that. So I think maybe just by reworking a little bit of water in it, it'll take care of that problem. There. Let's see if this does the trick. Hopefully it will. Okay. This is not okay. Things are going better. I know in my past experience that when things are not going well, don't force it, just stop. But apparently things are going much better. I'm so concentrated that I keep forgetting to move the camera around. Maybe I zoom in a little bit or move the camera like this. Maybe while I'm doing this, I could maybe play some music. So why don't we do that? Again, trying to work from left to right. There we go. So, let me move this camera over. I don't want to be in front of the lens if possible. Okay, let me just step back for a few seconds. Okay. I have to keep remembering to move this camera. So I'm going to have to grab my chair, and we're going to start off down in this area here. Well, actually, maybe right here. And zoom in here, maybe. All right. I am just going to rinse off my brush. And it caked up with paint. There we go. There we go.